here we are at the front of Highchester Meats. About 20 activists have gone inside and locked themselves in, and we are doing a demonstration at the front here, and the police are about to arrive. Okay, so at the slaughterhouse they kill medium to large sized animals, and including bobby calves, spent dairy cows, pigs, goats, sheep. So that's the activists waving from inside the holding pens.
So the police have been informed by the people inside. We've got footage of one of their workers brutally kicking and stomping on a dairy calf or slitting its throat. So they now want to see that footage.
Oh, wow. So the activists inside said that part of the deal is that the manager sees what the worker did to the car.
Who's been videoing this?
You obviously don't understand how the system works.
Very good, you've seen the footage?
Yeah.
And we need to know who's videoed this. And
well, that information's not going to come out, is it really? Because
Well, we'll determine that. I'll get you to go out, mate, you're right.
Yeah.
okay, so was it the part where he was stomping on the calf on the floor?
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't seem to see an issue with that because they said that the calf was already dead, but the calf clearly wasn't dead. They just seemed more interested in finding out who put the cameras in there, which that information is just not available. Like, if you can't see something wrong with that picture, even if he wasn't stomping on the calf, there's still something wrong with that picture. You know, to claim that that calf is dead, that's how crazy it is. Like, stabbing calves to death, baby bobby calves, okay, is legal. But leaving a camera in there to show people what's going on is not legal. This is the insanity of society. That's why what's legal isn't always moral, and we can just look 100 years back in history to find that out. Oh mate, you're a legend, aren't you, bro?
Yeah, how you going, mate?
How you going, mate? How's everything going in there? Just describe what's happening in there for us, please.
Pigs are separated from other pigs, and there's pigs together. There's pigs that are like fighting. There's a pig that's got a giant tumour on his neck, and they want to put that through the slaughterhouse for people's food. There's bobby calves just frying for the other cows that are on the other side of the shed. They're dehydrated.
Wow, that's horrible. Horrible. I showed the slaughterhouse manager the man stomping on the calf, and he didn't see an issue with it.
He didn't care.
He didn't see an issue with it. He said the calf's already dead, even though the calf was clearly still kicking.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. All right, keep up the amazing work.
Thanks, Charlie.
We'll be out here waiting for you. And I understand what we're trying to hammer home with this slaughterhouse manager here is an issue of welfare, of cruelty inside of a place like this, but that's not what veganism's about. Obviously, it's about the use of the animals altogether. We shouldn't be using them, we shouldn't be exploiting them at all. Even if they adhered to the welfare guidelines by the T, it's the bolt gun in their head that's the problem. It's the use of the animals' bodies that's the problem. It's the mass breeding, forcible impregnation. It's, you know, keeping in these pens and just sticking them in the slaughterhouse. We oppose all slavery, all injustice, and, you know, all animal use. The guy with the hat on is actually a vegan lawyer. Just making sure everything's, you know, everyone's getting their rights adhered to. I think it's important that we do have eyes and people here at the front of these places, so it just brings awareness to what's happening in here. That's why people think just standing out the front of a slaughterhouse doesn't do anything, but it does when we've got social media and a channel to spread this on.
And why do you do this?
For animals, because I think what's happening in there shouldn't happen to any living being that is sentient and feels pain and wants to live. And, you know, we live in a society of human beings that expect liberty, we expect freedom, we expect a certain, you know, moral treatment as human beings, but we deny that moral treatment to other sentient beings, and I think it's the height of hypocrisy, and, you know, it's an injustice on a massive scale.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you very much for being here.
No worries, thank you. Looks like we've got the media has just arrived, Channel 7, which is quite a large television news station. Yeah, so one of the crazy things is everyone here probably has a dog, a cat that they look after at home, but, you know, just over this fence we're murdering animals that can feel pain and suffer, are sentient just like our dogs and cats. and no one seems to care about these animals because they've been labelled as objects, as slaves, as, you know, units of production. So they're making money, and it's an industry that shouldn't exist. But no one really thinks about what's going on in those animals' minds, but they would if they were dogs, because you can just see the uproar and the outrage from Yulin Dog Festival, where you see dogs in cages getting their paws cut off, getting boiled alive, and everyone screams bloody murder. But as soon as it's pigs, cows, chickens, lambs or fish, no one seems to care, and we look like the crazy ones because we're speaking up against it. But sooner or later, like I said in my last video, we'll be the majority, and people are going to start waking up, because injustice like this can't last forever, although it can last a very long time. And I think like every individual here, no matter if they're working within it, have an animal that they care about, and they have a massive double standard in their life that I think they'll start to realise. The officers here probably have animals at home, their children probably care about animals too, but on the same token we're feeding these dead animals to our children, and we're sort of condoning violence, and no one sees what happens in between, and that's why the videos need to get out there. And videos like this can spoil people's dinner. They don't make the connection that what's on their plate is a product of violence and suffering and slavery. So that's what we're trying to get out to people.
But please don't wave your placards. Please don't obstruct the traffic from there.
Are we allowed to ask you a few questions? So what was your role here today, sir?
Basically, keep the peace.
Keep the peace. Besides the stomping of the calf, obviously this is a place of slaughter. Do you think it's morally justified to put animals in a place like this when it's not necessary for our health?
Oh, that's not for me to answer.
No?
That's not for me to answer.
You don't have a personal view on that?
I don't have a personal view.
Do you have a dog?
Pardon? I've got 4 dogs.
4 dogs. So you know that they feel pain, suffer, and sentient?
As I said, my personal view on this, I don't think is relevant.
But you can see how we're society that cares about animals, yeah?
Oh, we all care about animals.
Yeah. But do you think we draw an arbitrary line between animals we care for?
With respect, my job is to enforce the law, and that's what I'm trying to do here today. My personal thoughts about what occurs isn't relevant. I'm here to do a job, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. You're good at this, yeah? Not answering questions. But so obviously what's been legal in the past hasn't always been moral, yeah? If we look a couple of hundred years ago?
As I said, that's your opinions. What my opinions are is basically irrelevant. It gets down to what the law is at the moment.
Yeah.
Thank you, good folk. I appreciate it. And be extremely careful walking on the highway, because I don't want you to get hit and killed.
Okay.
Thank you, good folk. Much appreciated.
Thanks, mate. If it was your dogs in there, though, you'd be pretty upset, yeah?
We don't eat dogs.
Yeah, but Chinese people do. It's like that old officer's been in the game a bit too long, and he knew how to answer those questions, but hopefully we've got his mind ticking over a bit. He's got 4 dogs and he loves and cares about, but he's defending the slaughter of these animals. The camera lady just told me that the reason that these grates are there are so the animals can't escape. So there's fences all here that they can't get through, but if that gate is open, the grate here stops the animals from running away. How crazy is that? So that if they do try to escape, certain death, they don't even have a way out. My involvement here today is to use my social media platform to create awareness about what happens in these places. Okay, we all claim to be a society that cares about animals, some animals, but we, through culture, think it's okay to treat these animals as products. They're objects, essentially, slaves.
What was your reaction when you saw the footage that you've taken?
Well, I wasn't surprised. I've seen a lot of footage like that, and places like this, they have a level of violence as a baseline. So if you're stabbing animals all day in a place like this, seeing a calf get stomped on the floor, you'd be that desensitized to it, you wouldn't even think that it's wrong. I mean, places like this shouldn't even exist. Workers like this are under horrific conditions where they're seeing violence every day, all day. So for a worker to be conditioned to such violence and then to stomp on a calf, I can fully understand why that happens. It's these environments that cause this violence. For anyone who thinks anything humane happens in these places, I'd invite you to look for the most humane method of slaughter, and you'll see what humane really means in this society.
What What should happen to this employee?
Well, the thing is, it's interesting that we place blame on the employee. I mean, the employee is a product of a sick society. Okay, this is what we want to get across. Is it the employee's fault that he stomped the calf? Yeah, he does have responsibility. But is it society's fault that we pay for this to happen? We're saying, hey, we want meat, we want dairy, we want these animal products. So put these animals in slaughterhouses on our behalf. That's supply and demand.
What was the owner's reaction when you confronted them with the footage?
Well, I wasn't surprised. The manager didn't think there was anything wrong with it. He maintained the position that the calf was already dead, even though the calf was kicking. I'm well aware the calf had been bolt gunned in the head, but how do they know how conscious the calf still is if the legs are still kicking? And still, for a worker to be stomping a calf at that point, it would make anyone sick. I mean, I think if we bring this footage out and show the public, would they really want to be consuming this violence? No, I just plead with people to know that, you know, there is no humane way to do this.
Go vegan!
Do you agree that animals have moral value? They feel pain and suffer.
Of course they do.
So do you think it's justified that we put them in a slaughterhouse, but when they don't want to go in there, they don't want to die?
How do we know? We don't ask them.
Well, how do you know your dog doesn't want to die?
Yeah.